Cypress Development Corp. is developing a world-class lithium resource in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. The size of the resource makes the Clayton Valley project a premier asset with the potential to impact the future of lithium supply. Cypress Development Corp. trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the OTCQB, symbol CYDVF, and on Frankfurt, symbol C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome back to the show, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Sharon, with the federal election now underway, have you reached out to the political parties on 5G and smart meters?
No, I have not. That's not something that I do. I'm not political. But what many people have done, and I've encouraged them to do it, is to write to their MPs and the candidates in their areas and ask them where their stance is. And if anybody gets any information, regardless of the party, that is a policy statement, I would be more than happy to share it. In fact, I've encouraged people to get in writing any statements that they've put out to the media or anything that they're putting out in any of their election material, because we need to know people who are going to be eager to help us to protect our environment and our health, regardless of their party.
Does the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters have any political affiliation?
None at all. Absolutely none. I refuse to be getting involved in politics because I want to be free to be able to go after any politician who is not doing his job. All politicians, regardless of the level, whether it's local, provincial, or federal, are there to work for us, to protect our interests, and especially to protect our health. And if there are politicians out there who I believe, and who the members of the coalition believe, are not doing their job, who are not protecting them, we need to go after those politicians. No, the coalition has never been a political arm, and as long as I'm director, it's not going to be political. I want to have the freedom, and I think our members want to have the freedom, to demand that everybody, regardless of their party affiliation, do their jobs and do them well.
5G is a product of the globalists. The Green Party and Elizabeth May are for globalism. Your thoughts?
Sounds silly to me. If by globalism you mean that it's going around the world, yes. But many people use the term globalism as meaning it's against nationalism. And in many people's minds these days, nationalism is equated with very, very egocentric, like national parties, like the Nazi parties, like white supremacists. If there's a comparison between globalism and nationalism, if that's the definition, I hope she's a globalist. I'm a globalist because I certainly would not support any national socialist party like those that are popping up all over the world right now.
If a political candidate right now has a particular stand on 5G or smart meters, would you be happy to hear from them at any time?
Yes, of course, especially if they're willing to speak out publicly, go to the media, and put something in their election material. I don't want to hear from individual politicians telling me what they believe. I want them to tell their constituents what they believe and what they're going to do for them once they get into power. As I've been encouraging people, go to your meetings, go to the public meetings, go to your candidates, and demand that they speak out now. Speak out publicly. If they want your vote, they should earn it now and not promise what they're going to do once they get into office, because that sure hasn't worked all that well.
Sharon, going on to other things, in Switzerland they've had mass protests against 5G. Is that something you'd like to see in Canada?
Oh, yes, definitely. They've had two massive rallies, and in one, a lot of doctors participated. bringing out their concerns about the effects of microwave radiation and potentially milliwave radiation from the 5G on both the environment and health. And in Canada, for some reason, we just can't get those sorts of protests going. We're lucky, we had some major rallies against the smart meters, and we'd be lucky if we could get, 100 people. Yet in other countries, they could get thousands of people going. We just don't seem to have the organization here or the people willing to participate, which is really too bad. Although recently, I must say that in Saskatchewan, when Sask Power decided it was going to unilaterally change a very, very successful program, the solar panel program, that was receiving rebates and also giving net metering credits to people who are in solar power. That means that if people created or made more solar power in their system than they could use, they could sell it back to the system. And that makes so much sense because they can sell it back more cheaply than the utility company can buy it from any other source. Then they can sell it to other people. Well, Sask Power decided it was too successful and they were going to stop it. And there were some protests. People went out on the streets. There were some pretty major protests. And now all of a sudden the NDP party is saying, hey, maybe this should be reconsidered. So maybe protests would work here in Canada too if we could just get them going.
Saskatchewan does, it seems, respond to people concerns. They had 8 or 9 suspected smart meter fires, and they banned smart meters.
Well, they banned temporarily.
Okay. Do they have smart meters now?
No, but what they are doing is they are doing their own investigation into trying to find a safe smart meter. They removed all the ones that were in there, the census meters, and now what they are doing is they are investigating and hopefully getting some professional electrical engineers in there to find ones that are truly safe. They are committed to having a smart meter program, but they want ones that are not fire hazards.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
Grand Portage Resources' Herbert Gold Project in southeast Alaska highlights increased gold resource, indicated and inferred, of 860,000 ounces, in excess of 10 grams per ton gold. Expansion drilling is planned on the Herbert Gold property for the summer of 2019. Grand Portage Resources trading symbols are GPG on the TSX Venture, GPTRF on the OTCQB, and GPB on Frankfurt. For more information, please visit our website, grandportage.com.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, you sent the latest U.S. report on smart meters to the Premier of B.C. You also resent him your report on smart meter fires in the province. Any reaction yet from the provincial government?
Nope. And frankly and sadly, I'm not surprised. I sent my fire report that had more than 3 years of investigative results, showing that there were smart meter fires. I investigated the causes. I gave so much information that I'd received from Fire Commission reports, from fire departments, from the BC Safety Authority, from victims, from every possible source. I had information there from electrical engineers. Nothing. And I gave that report out in September 2017. Then on September 16th, I sent, as you said, another copy of that, along with a report that was just recently done in California that confirmed all of our findings and concentrated on the design flaws that cause them to be fire hazards. And this report from California confirmed the same design flaws that electrical engineers found in the smart meters that are used here in British Columbia, and also reported on many fires that are occurring down there. And no, I have not heard I haven't received any acknowledgement or any indication that anyone's interested. My fear is that no one cares, that there are forces there, whether it's political forces or financial forces, whatever it is, that whose agenda is more important than the safety of British Columbians. That not only are they not looking at the safety, they're not looking at the financial impact. These smart meters are now ready to start being replaced. And every time they start replacing meters, they'll probably bring in Corex again. They'll probably bring in these people who are not trained electricians who will be pulling these smart meters off without taking the safety precautions that are required, such as turning off the power first, which causes arcing, which can cause all sorts of problems. And every time, no matter even if it's done safely and well, every time a meter's removed, the jaws in the base become looser. And when the jaws become loose, arcing is going to occur. And when arcing occurs, you're going to have fires. And the good thing, one of the good things about analog meters is that they had a very, very long lifespan. So that meant most analogs were not removed. They were put in, and 30, 40 years later, they were still working just fine. But the smart meters have a very short lifespan, between 5 and 7 years. That means that every 5 to 7 years, that base is going to have its jaws messed with again. And the jaws are going to become loose. And they're going to become more fires more fires are going to occur because of this. It's inevitable. And it's one of the things that the province has not addressed. It's been brought to their attention, but no one's commented on it or taken any actions. And not only will more fires occur, but we're going to be paying big bucks for these things. It's a never-ending cycle, because every 5 to 7 years, we're going to have to pay for brand new meters. So this is a great deal for the meter companies, and for Itron, and for the Corex. This is a wonderful deal for them, but not so good for us.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the 2019 drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, are there more class action lawsuits concerning 5G or smart meters?
No, not that I know of, but there are some class action lawsuits about cell phones in the U.S. I think we discussed this last time. Cell phones have been found both in France and in the U.S. to exceed the allowable limits of radiation. And Samsung and Apple are facing major class action lawsuits in the U.S. And the interesting thing is, Jim, I wrote to Health Canada and Industry Canada asking them if they were going to do tests of phones here in Canada. The limits in the U.S. are higher than in Canada. And if the phones in the U.S. are exceeding the U.S. limits by up to 11 times, then that means that they're exceeding the Canadian limits by even more. And people deserve to know. There hasn't been one article that I've seen in any media telling the Canadians that they need to be very careful, even more careful than they thought, with their cell phones. And Health Canada and Industry Canada both got back to me and said, we're not concerned. Safety Code 6 protects us. Safety Code 6, first of all, only applies to thermal radiation. It doesn't apply to non-thermal radiation, which is what scientists have found make people sick, cause cancer, damage DNA. But they're not concerned about the fact that even the very, very high limits that are allowed in Canada by Safety Code 6 are being exceeded. There's something wrong here. And I challenged them. I said, are you telling me that you believe that the cell phones in Canada, which truthfully are the same phones that are sold in the U.S. and in France, that they're safer here in Canada? That you're not worried about it? They never addressed that. They just said, we believe Safety Code 6 is fine. This is what they say every time anyone goes to them with any complaints about Wi-Fi or about smart meters. Trust Safety Code 6. And Safety Code 6 is one of the worst guidelines. It's not a law. It's a guideline. It's just a policy. And we could be demanding greater safeguards based upon the true biological effects that have been shown. Safety Code 6 does not apply to cell phones and to the health concerns that scientists have found.
Sharon, is fiber optic a guarantee that if you're using fiber optic systems that you're not going to be irradiated in any way?
You know, if you'd asked me this a couple of weeks ago, I would have said yes. Fiber optic cable is light, and it's faster. It's more efficient. It can carry data so much more quickly than any wireless device can. But just recently, I discovered something brand new, and it's the fact that fiber optic signals, which are light signals, have to be converted to electrical signals. And apparently, these converters have very strong electromagnetic fields that can interfere with, people who are sensitive can feel it. And I've been told that many people react very, very strongly when fiber optic cable is brought into their neighborhood. Now, there are some things here that we need to be especially concerned about because fiber optic cable is the backbone of 5G grid. It's going to be brought, as has been brought, by TELUS. They tell you, we're bringing it to your home for free. Well, it's not going to work on your home without a converter. And if TELUS is putting a converter in your home or on the house's wall, you better watch out because it's going to be having very high electromagnetic interference. And if they're bringing the fiber optic cable, which they are, they're bringing it right outside your home for the microcells that are going to hold multiple transmitters for 5G technology and 4G and 3G. They're going to have converters there, multiple converters probably, and it's going to put out extremely high levels of EMI. So, Jim, I'm afraid to say I'm no longer a fan of fiber optic cable. We've got to find out a safe way of being able to convert this wonderful means of bringing signals and data. It's faster, it doesn't irradiate, it doesn't have microwave radiation, and it's cyber secure. It's much harder to hack. It's much safer in so many ways. But right now, until we can find, first, a safe converter, and second, not have it part of the 5G grid, then I'm going to say, well, I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to recommend fiber optic cable. I don't know what's happening in schools because I know that many schools had fiber optic cable brought right into their computer rooms, into schoolrooms, before they had Wi-Fi. But that's before I knew about the converters. So I would have to go back and try to find out what happens in schools if they remove the Wi-Fi, which is horrible. What happens with the converters there for children?
Sharon, anything else we should be taking a look at this week?
Oh, there's a lot going on all over the place. For instance, in Denmark, there was a major legal opinion saying that 5G is illegal. It is against all human rights and environmental laws that are in the EU and the United Nations and many other countries' laws. And I think that this is something that people here in Canada should be looking at, because we have strong environmental and human rights laws, and right now they are being infringed by a lot of wireless technology, and 5G is going to be even worse than what we have right now.
Sure.
5G is my biggest concern right now.
Sharon, what should people do if they're concerned?
They need to educate themselves, and they need to get out and talk to their politicians, demand that the politicians want their votes, that they have to do something. They have to come out with strong statements. They have to demand that 5G be banned. There be a moratorium on it until it can be proven to be safe. The microwave radiation levels are already dangerously high in Canada. We can't allow it to be higher, and we can't allow cell towers to be outside homes. And this is what 5G will do. And we have to speak out. We can't be timid. We should look at France and Switzerland and do what they're doing now about climate. We need to speak out and not be afraid to have our voices heard. By the way, Jim, I forgot to tell you something very important. There was a major conference in California this month, about 2 weeks ago, and there were many international speakers there, addressing issues from electrosensitivity to the scientific reports, to the new technology and everything. And one of the major things that I just learned is that many doctors, many MDs attended. And this is major because the doctors are on the front line, and most of them have never had any education about microwave radiation and the health effects that it can cause. Because it's not taught, until recently it wasn't taught in any medical schools. So this is big. The more doctors we can educate, the better we can help people protect themselves, and the better the doctors can treat the problems that are existing in their patients. Many people are coming in now with problems, and they're being told, oh, it's psychological. No, it's not psychological. Electrosensitivity is real. Also, for instance, cardiologists here in Victoria are telling their patients when they come in with AFib, the doctors are saying, checking them out. If they can't find anything else wrong, if their valves are fine and everything else is fine, they're telling them, go home, unplug everything that is wireless. Don't use anything wireless. Get rid of your cell phones. Get landline. Come back in 2 weeks. And 9 times out of 10, I've been told that the people who've been told this get significant improvement virtually immediately. So doctors need to be educated on this topic, and this conference was a major step in that direction.
Sharon, is there a website people can go to get more information?
They certainly can. It's www.stopsmartmetersbc.com.
Sharon, thank you so much for being on the show.
I thank you so much, Jim, as always.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. If you have any questions for Sharon or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.